your programming is unproductive. Do you reach for your mouse highlighting code or use your arrow keys way too often? Well, it's time to use Vim. It's powerful and efficient. It's a text editor used by many around the world, and it allows you to ditch arrow keys and utilize key bindings and shortcuts to navigate and edit your code more efficiently. So the unique thing about Vim is that it has unique modes that allow programmers to edit and manipulate code faster than ever. It's time to discuss these modes and start using Vim in your daily workflow. So now let's start using Vim in normal mode. Normal mode is the default mode in Vim, and inside normal mode you're able to use commands and shortcuts to navigate and edit the text. For example, you could use the H, J, K, and L keys to move the cursor left, down, up, and right respectively. Those would be called motions, and the two types of other motions that we'll be focusing on is W and B. W would be to walk forward and B would be to walk backward, and by walking I mean going back and forward by a word. Next are operations, and inside of the operations we have the delete, change, yank, and undo actions. To delete you would press D, to yank or copy would press Y, change is C, and the reason why we would have these operations and motions is so that we could combine these together and create a sentence-like structure so that we're able to create macros on the fly. An example of these macros would be something like DD, which would delete the whole entire line. Anything with a double letter would be a line. So YY would be to yank a line, and CC would be to change a line. Another sentence-like structure that is commonly used inside of Vim would be DW, which would delete the next word, and DB, which would delete the previous word. Now we have a direct object that Vim operations could be applied to. Like motions, operations could be applied to them, like DW. So in this case, we have DI parentheses. I parentheses being the direct object in our case. It's almost like a language if you really think about it. So we have IW, IT, and I braces. IW is applied to everything inside of the current word. IT is applied to everything inside of the current tag, and I braces is applied to everything inside of the curly brace. So right now we're able to do CI brace, where we're able to change everything inside of the braces. We're able to do DI brace, which deletes everything inside of the curly brace. So you just use CIW. Now you're in insert mode. Congratulations. But how do you leave insert mode and back to normal mode? To get back, you have to use escape. Alright, so you use escaped. Now how do you get back into insert mode? Well, there are a multitude of ways to get inside of insert mode, and one of those would be I. Pretty simple, right? But there are other ways to insert, that being capital I, which would insert at the start of the line so you don't have to scroll all the way back using H. Or you could press capital A, which would insert at the end of the line so you don't have to press all the way with L. So insert mode was pretty easy, knowing that this is the vanilla editor and we're just able to insert using Vim. Now there's also a visual mode, and that's where we would use our mouse to hover over text. So after entering visual mode, we could use the normal motions from the normal mode and kind of change the highlight area based on that. So instead of using your mouse to hover over specific words, we could just do VIW, which is to actually view the word. We could also use Shift V, which is capital V, to view in a line-wise fashion. We could also do Control V to do a block-wide visual mode. So for example, if we want to change any of the semicolons, we could use that. Another key feature of the visual mode is that we could use the normal motions such as X, which would be able to cut any of the words or characters that we highlight inside of visual mode, or we could use C to replace any of the characters or words inside visual mode. With Vim, there's always something to learn. We haven't even scratched the surface of command mode, and in fact, I still don't know how to quit Vim. But there's always things to learn, such as marks, registers, macro repeats, your vimrc config file, and buffers. You're always learning with Vim and always utilizing the macros to develop your workflow.